Good afternoon and welcome to today's IELTS analysis class, where I will be looking at a task that you have been completing from the Facebook group. Today I'll be looking at the reading tasks that you have been doing related to recognizing global reading skills. So this is about recognizing what different texts are trying to achieve. And by becoming more familiar with these texts, it will help you to be able to answer questions in the IELTS reading exam more successfully. The more comfortable you are in terms of recognizing different types of text, the better you'll be able to approach reading them and answering the questions. So if you're watching this class live, let me know in the chat box today. Just say hi and let me know where you're from. If you're watching this class once it's been recorded, then I hope that you are able to find it useful. And do take time to have a look at the original task along with this video. So let me share the task right now, so we can have a look at it together. And we'll see that we have 4 different texts. Let's make these just a bit bigger. And these 4 texts are from different sources. So for those who are watching the class, can you let me know where these different texts would be found? What do you think? So get rid of that. So if we start by at A, for example, where do we think text A would be found? We have some specific options here. We've got a newspaper or magazine, an academic journal, an advertisement, or an online encyclopedia. So if you've got any ideas, do let me know in the chat what you think. Hello to Ikemba, Alice, and Elena. Great to see you in the chat today. And Rakesh. Wonderful to see you all in today's class. Okay. So as I said, let me know what you think in the chat box in terms of where these texts would be found. If you've completed this task before coming into the class today, then obviously you'll be in a better position to answer the questions. So looking at A then, we can see physical exercise. So there's a clue in the font. It starts with a different color, and then it goes on to give a definition. So this sort of structure we'd expect to see in an online encyclopedia. Yeah, for A. So A would be number 4. Okay, or it might be easier just to write the number next to it. Yeah, we've got the term to begin with, and then we have an explanation as to what this term means. Okay, so that would be the answer for A. Hello, Ahmed. Great to see you in the class today as well. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. So B, the present study was conducted among 92 adolescents, so quite formal language, adolescents, formal way of talking about teenagers, to rural, to urban areas, so it's very formal, urban referring to the city, rural referring to the countryside, results revealed. Okay, so this sort of language then we would expect to find in an academic journal, talking about results, very formal language, and a use of the passive voice as well, were observed. So this is the sort of language you'd expect in an academic journal. So B would be 2. And if we have a look at 3, let's just reduce it so we can see it. Scroll down a little bit. So for C, after years of studying numerous nutritional lifestyle factors for lifetime fitness, it's a single thing that comes close to magic bullet. Quite simply, it is exercise. Okay, so the style here is much more informal, isn't it? So after years of studying, it's quite imprecise, it's not specific, we don't know how many years. The single thing, so the use of thing, that expression is quite informal. A magic bullet, again, it's pretty informal, isn't it? Quite simply, it is exercise. So it's not advertising anything to us, it's not advertising a product or a service. It is reporting information, but reporting information in a more informal manner. And so that would be quite consistent with a newspaper article. So for C, option number 1. And finally for D, well, we've only got one option left. Have you ever wished that you could work out in the comfort of your own home without having to go to the gym with Leapfrog? So Leapfrog, so it's a specific product that's being marketed to us. It's giving us information to sell the product technologically, I can say the word, technologically advanced home sports equipment available. Every product is the result. So yeah, it's selling us a specific item, isn't it? We can see that top quality components, the sort of language you'd expect in an advert, needs virtually no maintenance. So lots of persuasive language to try and get us excited in this product. And so for D, the answer is 3. Okay, so in the IELTS exam, you are more likely to come up against B and C in the reading texts. When you do the academic IELTS, you should expect, obviously, information to come from academic journals. Also, there will be parts of text which will be focusing on definitions as well, which is where you would get A. And in some of the texts, they are reporting information, but a little less formally. So we should expect C as well. D, in terms of advertisements, we might encounter more likely, though, in the listening section, there might be elements where we will come across advertising language. So let's move on to have a look at part 2 now. We've analysed the language a little bit, so we should be able to answer the part 2 questions quite easily. So let's see. So which one is designed to make the reader want to do something? Persuasion. What do we think? Let me know in the class if you have any ideas. Great to see you suggesting some answers, by the way. Sian, great to see you making some suggestions, and Elena as well. Wonderful stuff. So if we have a look then at number 1, persuasion, well, that is focused on what we can say 3, or it's D, isn't it? Yeah, it's the same thing. 3 or D would be persuasion, because that's what an advert is supposed to do, to make us want to do something, to persuade us, convince us to want to take a particular course of action, to buy something. Which 2 report on the results of research, evidence and conclusions? Well, definitely the academic article is doing that. We looked at that, didn't we? Results revealed, but also, so that would be B, but also the newspaper report gave us evidence of research, but it just did it in a less formal way. So B and C would be the answer to number 2. Number 3, which one sets out to explain a particular expression, a definition? Well, that is A, isn't it? Because it was trying to explain what physical exercise is. and that's what the article is. That's the purpose of the article. That's what it's focused on. And which one compares two groups? Comparison and contrast. So we didn't look at this in so much detail, but if we have a look at the academic article, we can see there is a focus on rural and urban. So we did have a look at that, didn't we? The rural and the urban areas. So we're looking at rural adolescents and urban adolescents, and we're looking at their behaviors. So that would be the answer for the fourth question. It would be B, the comparison of urban and rural adolescents. So those are the answers that you should have got to the questions. Hopefully you were able to answer them successfully. If you found that you did have difficulties in this exercise, it's worth going over the exercise again, because as I said before, if you're comfortable with the overall global approach to reading, that will really help you when it comes to accessing texts and being able to read them more successfully, and it will help you find information more successfully too. So I hope you found today's class useful, and I will see you for our next class. Until then, take care.